Good evening. This is the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and tonight our focus is on the Mars orbiter mission, which has completed 100 days in orbit around Mars successfully. Another feather in the caps of our scientists. More on that a little later in the show, but first up, the headlines we're tracking right now. ISRO's Mars mission completes 100 days in orbit around the red planet, but the future of ISRO remains uncertain, with no names yet for a full-time chairman. Another police mock drill video stirs controversy in Gujarat. Home Ministry assures strict action against the cops. Technical fault causing delays in Mumbai local trains strands thousands for about 6 hours, sparks violent protests by angry commuters. Suspected Pakistani vessel carrying explosive blown up by 4 people on board off the Gujarat coast. Centre accuses Pakistan of trying to push in militants. And 30 more bodies recovered as the search intensifies for the lost Airasia plane. Operation moved underwater to find the aircraft. Our top story tonight, India's first interplanetary mission to the Mars orbiter mission, or the Mangalyaan, has successfully completed 100 days in the Mars orbit. A proud moment for all Indians in the new year. But the big day has also been marked by concerns over the lack of a full-time chairman for ISRO. Dr. K. Radhakrishnan retired as chairman on the 31st of December, but the government is yet to appoint someone to replace him.
"100 days in the Martian orbit. India's maiden Mars mission continues its successful run. The spacecraft has been designed to work for a year, but depending on the amount of fuel left in it, it could continue orbiting around Mars for longer."
Last year's assessment of Time magazine also says that it is one of the 24 marvels of technology that have been achieved by humanity.
The craft was launched into space on 5th December 2013. After an over 10-month-long journey, it was inserted into the Martian orbit on 24th September 2014. Made with a total cost of just 450 crore rupees, the spacecraft has been sending pictures and data from day one. The success of MOM, as it's affectionately called, made India the first Asian country to send a spacecraft to Mars and the first in the world to do so in its maiden attempt. MOM was adjudged one of 2014's 25 best innovations by Time magazine. Talking about Mangalyaan, the magazine called it the super smart spacecraft. India's space mission has relied on the expertise of this man in the last few years, but the future remains uncertain for now. Dr. K. Radhakrishnan retired as chairman of ISRO on 31st December 2014 after having served from 2009 to 2014. But the government is yet to appoint his successor, raising concerns that ISRO's decision-making might get affected.
Dr. Radhakrishnan was due to retire, was already known, and they had ample time to select and appoint the next chairman. So it gives a very wrong signal of lack of clarity, or, it gives rise to questions which should not have been the case.
An institution like this needs someone who is at the head, who is empowered to take decisions and major policy decisions which are going to affect the future of ISRO. And so I don't think an acting chairman will be in any position to play the same kind of role which a proper chairman would have.
और ISRO chairman is also chairman of the Space Commission, जो एक पॉलिसी मेकिंग बॉडी है, तो उसके 2-3 रोल होते हैं. तो एक महत्वपूर्ण, बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण पद है, जो कि एक एक्टिंग चेयरमैन उतनी उसमें काबिलियत नहीं हो सकती, उनके पावर उतने नहीं हो सकते कि एक जो फुल टाइम चेयरमैन उसमें काम कर सके.
If India has to continue its successful run in the field of space science, then every aspect of it must be looked into. The Mangalyaan should not become the country's only big achievement. Aruna Thakur for Rajya Sabha TV.
An eminent science journalist and author Dinesh Chandra Sharma joins us in the studio to help us understand more about the Mangalyaan. First, let's talk about the good. Sir, 100 days of the Mars mission without a hiccup, a significant achievement for India, isn't it?
I think it's certainly a landmark in the journey of ISRO, which started 2 years back when it launched the maiden Mars mission, and when it was injected into its desired orbit in September this year. And 100 days means it has completed half of its design life, which is about 6 months or so. And of course, now scientists say that it could run longer also, depending on the supply of availability of fuel. But its design life was 6 months, so it has certainly reached a landmark in the first 100 days. And let's look at what it has been able to do in the first 100 days.
Right, and let's talk about that. In fact, what has it been able to do? What have we been getting back from the orbiter mission?
Yeah, as we know that this spacecraft, which has been moving around in an orbit around the red planet, has some 5 payloads. One of them is the Mars color camera, what they call MCC,
right, and
which was made operational the very same day, and we had the first image of the red planet on one day after the spacecraft was put into the orbit. Right. And subsequently we have had several images of the red planet which it has sent, and which have been noticed the world over for the quality, because just remember that this was a small mission designed to show to test our capability, the technological capability to reach such a long distance, put it into orbit, and have a communication link from there. So if it is able to deliver such good images, it has been very well noticed. And one of the key tests of the Mars orbiter mission in these first 100 days was when this important space event which took place around in the middle of November, right, when this comet passed by. So they had to recalibrate the orbit so that it doesn't get affected by the dust of the climate of the comet which was passing by Mars, and also it was able to take some pictures. So I think these are all very good achievements in the first 100 days, so to say.
All right. So we've talked about the good. Let's talk about the not so good. Talking about the concerns. Dr. K. Radhakrishnan has retired, and the fact that no chairman for ISRO has been appointed yet. I mean, you were one of the voices in our stories raising concerns about this. So explain to us why.
I wish we were not discussing the two together, but that's the ground reality. I think it's a very sad commentary on the way we govern our scientific institutions. As we know that Dr. Radhakrishnan was on extension for 6 months, and the government of the day very well knew that he's going to retire in such and such date. And as we know that ISRO has a history of having a very good succession plans, and in its history of 40 years, it has never had any occasion when it did not have a full-time chairman. And remember, it's a very significant post in the government parlance also. If you look at the governing structure, ISRO chairman is also the chairman of the Space Commission. He is also Secretary of Department of Space. And till a few months ago, or till last year, ISRO chairman was also chairman of the Antriksh Corporation. So he was wearing 4 hats. Now this person wears 3 hats. So it's a very, the country cannot run without a finance secretary.
So why the delay? Many would ask, why the delay, sir, then?
Sorry?
Why the delay? Why?
No, that is something which the government has to explain, because the system is such that, always a space scientist has become head of ISRO in all its history. People who have grown with the system. It's not as if you can bring a director from somewhere else and you can appoint. So that much is known. So that was the tradition, and which has been followed for such a long time, because it's a technical agency like the Department of Atomic Energy. Right. You have not had an outsider come and preside over it. So similarly, Department of Space had never had any outsider come and preside over, the space agency.
All right, we'll leave it over there. So you talked about the good, also the little bit of a concern over there, but let's focus on the good. 100 days completed by the Mars mission. Thanks so much, sir, for coming in and sharing your perspective with us on this particular topic. Moving on now, joining Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Digital India program, ICICI Bank has launched its own Digital Village project. Now, the bank adopted an entire village in Gujarat to provide services ranging from cashless banking to digitized school teaching. Modi today inaugurated the country's first digital village in Akodra in Mumbai. The Prime Minister dedicated the digital village to Gujarat at the ICICI Group's 60th anniversary event. The Prime Minister was accompanied by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis.
अकोदरा गांव के लोग तो अब कैशलेस उनका कारोबार चलेगा, लेकिन हम ये सपना कब पूरा करें कि भारत में भी कैशलेस आर्थिक व्यवस्था विकसित हो। और मैं चाहता हूं कि हिंदुस्तान के बैंकिंग सेक्टर में इसकी कंपटीशन होनी चाहिए। कौन बैंक है जिसका मैक्सिमम ट्रांजैक्शन है और कैशलेस है।
On your 60th birthday, instead of accepting gifts, you've gifted this country with a role model village. Something which is a trendsetter, and I'm sure as a part of this new campaign which has been launched, where each one of the elected representatives in India has now to adopt a village and make it an ideal village, there'll be many lessons to be learned from what you've done.
And BJP President Amit Shah was also in Mumbai today, but he was there to review the party's membership drive in the state. Speaking to media persons at a press conference, Shah said the NDA government wants to bring in a law which is against forcible conversions. He also said that the BJP is still a strong contender to form the government in Jammu and Kashmir. The party's been holding talks with the PDP and the National Conference, but there's been no fruitful outcome yet. Yesterday, a party delegation met Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Vora, seeking more time for dialogue with other stakeholders.
अभी तय नहीं है। हमने कहा है कि हम खुद सरकार बनाना चाहते हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास जनता का मैंडेट है। अभी दोनों पार्टियों से हमारी बातचीत हो रही है।
And more embarrassment for the Gujarat government, another controversial video of an anti-terror mock drill has surfaced. The video shows dummy terrorists shouting pro-Islam slogans, suggesting that all terrorists were Muslims. A similar video had surfaced a couple of days ago in which dummy terrorists were shown wearing skull caps. That sparked widespread condemnation, forcing State Chief Minister Anandiben Patel to apologize and call the drill a mistake. Now, the second video linking terrorism to religion has left the state government and the police red-faced. Gujarat Minister of State for Home Affairs, Rajni Patel, has assured strict action against the policemen who conducted the drills.
What has come out only evidences that the Gujarat police has completely communalized, and unfortunately it happened on the watch of the gentleman who is the Prime Minister of India now.
वो हिंदुस्तान में रहने वाली सबसे बड़ी अक़लियत जिसे हम मुसलमान कहते हैं, उन्हें नए साल का तोहफा दिया गया है। अब नए साल के तोहफे में हमारी हैसियत एक आतंकवादी की, एक दहशतगर्द की, देशद्रोही की, देश दुश्मन की टोपी उड़ाकर तय कर दी है। उसके लिए देश के प्रधानमंत्री का शुक्रिया।
A technical fault halted Mumbai's lifeline, the suburban train services today, leading to violent protests. Irate commuters went on a rampage, setting vehicles ablaze, vandalizing rail property and pelting stones. Now, the chaos went on for about 6 hours, leaving thousands of people stranded.
Suburban train services in Mumbai Central and Harbour Line came to a standstill for about 6 hours on Friday. A technical problem near the Thakurali station in the morning led to delays, stranding thousands of passengers in the morning rush hour. The worst affected were the Thane, Kalyan and Dombivli stations. Protests erupted soon with hundreds of commuters blocking the railway track at Diva station between Thane and Kalyan. As crowds swelled at the platforms, irate mob pelted stones and blocked trains at Diva station. The irate mob damaged railway property, threw ATM machines on tracks and also torched 3 cars outside Diva station. Motormen refused to drive trains after one of them sustained minor injuries in an attack in an incident at Thane. This led to the Motormen Union calling for suspension of all operations unless they were given proper police protection. Later, police resorted to lathi charge to control the situation. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis reviewed the situation and appealed to the people to maintain peace.
जो परिस्थिति है उसको मॉनिटर करने के लिए हमने हमारे राज्य मंत्री जी को भेजा है और हम इसके ऊपर पूरी नजर बनाए हुए और भविष्य में ये न हो इसलिए रेलवे मिनिस्ट्री के साथ हमारी कार्रवाई चल रही है।
Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu said there was an urgent need for improvement in the Mumbai suburban railway system in view of the burgeoning population.
आबादी बढ़ रही है, लोगों की मांगे बढ़ रही है और व्यवस्था बढ़ाने की जो ज़रूरत है उसमें कदम नहीं उठाने के कारण हम बहुत बड़े पैमाने पे उसमें काम करने की कोशिश करें। उस सभी काम करने के लिए समय तो लगेगा ही लगेगा, लेकिन साथ साथ में साधन की भी ज़रूरत होगी, पैसे लाने होंगे, कहाँ से लाएंगे उसके ऊपर भी हम सोच रहे हैं, उसके भी लिए भी कोशिश जारी है।
Later, the train services resumed but operated at a slow pace. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
News from the stock markets now, where the Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex rose for the sixth day in a row on Friday. The benchmark index surged over 380 points to end at an over 3-week high. The rise came on the back of encouraging manufacturing data and gains in banking stocks on hopes of sectoral reforms. The Sensex rose by 380 points to close at 27,888, while the National Stock Exchange Barometer Nifty also soared over 111 points to close at 8,395. Capital goods, power, realty and metal shares saw heavy buying after a survey said India's manufacturing sector grew at its fastest pace in 2 years in December 2014. Buying activity also extended to the mid-cap and small-cap stocks. Mid-cap index ended 0.86% higher and small-cap index gained 0.74%. Let's now take a look at all the other national news we are tracking in nationwide. Swine flu has claimed 2 more lives in Hyderabad in the last 24 hours. Over 80 cases of swine flu were reported in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh region in 2014. Over 28 cases were reported in Delhi too. Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda said the government is closely monitoring the situation and said that hospitals are well equipped to tackle swine flu cases. The state government has also taken various steps to check the spread of the disease. Days after she was denied information under RTI, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's wife, Jashodaben Modi, has filed a fresh RTI application. She had earlier filed an RTI in November last year seeking details of the security provided to her after Narendra Modi became Prime Minister. She also wanted to know the laws and related provisions in the Indian Constitution about security cover given to the Prime Minister's wife. Leh and Kargil in the Ladakh region recorded the season's coldest nights as the cold wave intensified in Jammu and Kashmir after a slight respite for a few days. The minimum temperature in Leh settled at minus 17.1 degrees Celsius, down by over 2 degrees from the previous night's low of minus 14.8 degrees Celsius. According to the Met Department, cold and dry weather would continue across the state for the next few days. Well, time for a quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, an abandoned ship has been towed away by the Italian Coast Guard. Why is that important? We'll tell you on the other side. Welcome back. This is the news tonight. Now, a suspected Pakistani vessel blew up after being chased by the Indian Coast Guard near Porbandar's coast on New Year's Eve. The explosive-laden vessel went down with all 4 people on board. The incident was revealed today with the Coast Guard issuing a release. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has accused Pakistan of trying to infiltrate militants into India.
A suspected Pakistani fishing boat carrying explosives was intercepted by the Coast Guards in the Arabian Sea on New Year's Eve. But the 4 people on board reportedly set the vessel on fire and exploded it before it sank with them. An intelligence-based midnight operation was conducted by the Coast Guard ships and aircraft to intercept the boat near Porbandar in Gujarat. According to the Defence Ministry, there was information that the fishing boat from Keti Bundar near Karachi was planning some illicit transaction in Arabian Sea.
पूरी तरह से कॉर्नर जब हो चुका था, उसके बाद उसने जब वार्निंग नहीं सुनी, लाउड हेलर पे हमारे कुछ वार्निंग शॉट अक्रॉस द बाउज, एक रूल्स ऑफ एंगेजमेंट होता है, उसके हिसाब से हमारे जो कमान अधिकारी है उन्होंने पूरा फॉलो किया. जब वो पूरा करने के बाद भी नहीं आए तो कुछ देर में वो सारे जो क्रू थे नीचे जाके कहीं आग लगा दी और थोड़ी देर में पूरी बोट जो है आग का एक गोला जैसा बन गया और वो करीब 6:33 के आसपास सुबह जो है वो पूरी डूब गई.
Politicians and experts praised the efforts of the Coast Guard in what appears like a 26/11 attack plan.
क्या फिर एक बार इतिहास अपने आप को दोहराने वाला था? क्या बॉम्बे जैसा वाकया दोबारा होने वाला था? कहाँ पे अटैक करने वाले थे? ये सवाल कोई छोटा सवाल नहीं है, इसका पूरा इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए. डेफिनेटली वी शुड अप्रिशिएट आवर सिक्योरिटी ऑफिसर्स, आवर सिक्योरिटी.
अगर वो स्मगलर होते, मान लिया दूसरी पॉसिबिलिटी ये है, तो स्मगलर अपने आप को सरेंडर कर देता, वो जेल हो जाती, कोर्ट केस चलता. लेकिन जो मोटिवेशन चाहिए अपने आप को ब्लो अप करने की, वो सिर्फ टेररिस्ट में होती है. तीसरी बात, ये हमारे कोस्ट गार्ड के लिए एक बहुत बधाई की बात है, बड़े अच्छी बात है कि उन्होंने अपना सर्वेलेंस सिस्टम जो बॉम्बे कांड के टाइम उसमें कुछ कमियां थी उनको दूर कर दिया.
Meanwhile, intelligence reports have warned of Pakistan-based terrorists trying to strike ahead of US President Barack Obama's visit this month. Home Minister Rajnath Singh claimed that Pakistan is trying to push terrorists into Jammu and Kashmir and give cover to such attempts by continuous firing along the border. On Thursday, 4 Pakistani Rangers were killed in a sharp counter-attack following the death of an Indian Jawan in cross-border firing. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
After bad weather hampered search operations for the Airasia flight, the search has now moved underwater. The investigation teams are now relying on scans of the sea floor to find the wreckage and the crucial black box. With more bodies being identified, there is a mood of pessimism among the relatives.
The search for the crashed Airasia plane QZ8501 has now moved underwater. Divers are being deployed to scan the seabed for wreckage of the plane. A French crash investigation team is using sensitive acoustic detection devices to locate the plane and the all-important black box.
Adalah mencari bagian besar dari pesawat. Dilakukan oleh kapal-kapal kita maupun bantuan dari luar yang mempunyai sistem pencarian bawah permukaan.
The wreckage and bodies are believed to be spread over a 5-kilometer area in the Java Sea. Locating the flight recorders will not be an easy task, but it is crucial to solving the mystery of what transpired in the moments before the plane went down.
Untuk tim rescue kita ada dari BSG 15, dari tim TNI AL ada 47 dan kru ada 17.
Several more bodies were found on Friday, taking the total bodies recovered to 30. Devastated relatives received bodies of the people who have been identified so far. Of the 162 people on board the plane, no survivors have been found. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
And for more international news and updates, here's Global Buzz. Officials in Shanghai visited the injured victims in the stampede on New Year's Eve that killed at least 36 people. 47 of those injured had been rushed to the Shanghai Central Hospital after the incident. Meanwhile, the police have ruled out claims that a rush for dollar coupons was the cause of the tragedy. Italian authorities have taken control of the abandoned cargo ship Ezadin that drifted without power off the southeast Italian coast. The ship carrying 450 migrants is now being towed to safety by the Coast Guard. It's headed to the port of Crotone. A rescue team has managed to board the ship. Italian authorities late on Thursday responded to a distress call from the ship. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called on the International Criminal Court to reject Palestine's membership bid. Netanyahu said the Palestinian Authority is allied with the terror organization Hamas and should not be signed onto the institution. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on Wednesday signed onto the ICC membership and 20 other international agreements. Somalia's Al-Shabaab militants attacked a military base in the outskirts of Baidoa today, killing at least 7 Somali soldiers. The militants had briefly taken over the military base. The attack comes 2 days after the US airstrike eliminated Al-Shabaab's intelligence chief, Tehlil Abdishakur. Calling himself the known devil, Sri Lanka's President Mahinda Rajapaksa urged Tamils to bring him back to power. Rajapaksa is seeking re-election to a third term. Muslim and Tamil groups have announced their support for his rival Sirisena. The presidential election, that is in the final week of campaigning, is expected to be a close race. Well, time for a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, all the sports news. Steven Gerrard announces he will end his stint at Liverpool. More on that on the other side. Welcome back here with the news tonight. For all the sports news and updates, here's the Sports Beat. The last test match between India and Australia in the Border Gavaskar Trophy will begin on Tuesday. This will be Virat Kohli's first as test captain after MS Dhoni's retirement this week. He is facing a big challenge after being given the permanent charge of the side after the sudden retirement of Dhoni. Australia has already claimed the trophy after drawing the third test at Melbourne with an unbeatable 2-0 lead. Former Australian captain Michael Hussey has said reports about him replacing Indian coach Duncan Fletcher as baseless. Reports claim that Dhoni had suggested Hussey's name for the job. Present coach Duncan Fletcher's contract expires at the end of the World Cup 2015. Liverpool captain Steven Gerrard has officially confirmed that he will leave his English Premier League club Liverpool at the end of the season. This will end Gerrard's 26-year stint in the club, during which he scored 180 goals in 695 games. The Liverpool midfielder had won 114 caps for his country after making his debut against Ukraine at Wembley in the year 2000. Well, that's news tonight. Good night.